Welcome to the Middle Ground. I'm your host, joined by my co-host, Michigan Metal. Football is back! We got a big slate coming in for week one. We had week 0 this past weekend. A couple games out there, but hey, it's nice to see some college football back on the screen. Life is starting to feel a little bit better. The air outside is starting to be a little bit cooler in the mornings. And football is back. We got a huge slate this week for week one. We got number 1 Texas taking on number 3 Ohio State. Michigan has New Mexico visiting them. Number 9 LSU takes on number 4 Clemson. And then number 6 Notre Dame takes on Miami at Miami. And we're going to get into each one of those showdowns and talk about what it means for not only those games, but the rest of the season and how everything's going to shape up. Welcome, Metal. What is going on, my guy?
What's going on? What's going on, man? It's Monday. Weather's getting better outside. I woke up. I went to go walk the dog, all right? And I had to wear a hoodie, okay? A hoodie. And it's the first time I've worn a hoodie outside for months, and it felt so fucking great.
Is it not nice?
You know, the breath. It's so nice, dude. And you just look at the clouds, like the sky, and you can just see the clouds and the fallish figures that's right around the corner. And then you just get this breath of fresh air of football. Football.
Yep.
Football is here.
Today was the first day I think that I've woken up in a while, and I love the days where you need a quarter zip or a sweatshirt in the morning, and then during the day you don't need it anymore. It gets warm enough. That is that is a sign of fall. That is a sign of football. And I don't think it was any type of coincidence. I woke up this morning and this was one of the first days in a long time that it's felt that way. So definitely signs. There's a little bit of chill in the air in the morning. The cold weather's coming, and it just so happens to be week 1 of college football. So we're back. We got a lot of games on the docket tonight. As I just said before, Texas, Ohio State, New Mexico, Michigan, LSU, Clemson, Notre Dame, Miami. There's a few more out there as well. But those are the 4 that we're going to break down. We're going to talk about some of the headlines going into it, talk a little bit of gambling on each of those, what the lines are, what they look like for the betting markets. And, yeah, it's football season. So we're going to keep bringing you the content. We're going to keep bringing you the conversation, and let's see where we go.
What else is right around the corner? Pumpkin spice latte, bitches.
No comment.
What, you don't like pumpkin spice lattes?
Not really. I'm a black coffee drinker.
Oh God.
Dude, whenever I was in college, I didn't feel like paying for more than what I needed to, and I started drinking coffee, and it got me fucking going at the beginning of the day. I didn't want to buy creamer or anything, so I was just I'm just going to learn how to drink the shit black, and ever since then, I don't drink it any other way, and I fucking love it.
Yeah, and sometimes creamer can, give you the shits, depending on how strong it is. But I can see why people drink, just straight black coffee.
Yeah.
Some good shit.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Well, let's get into it. We got some notable headlines across the weekend. As we talked about, we had week 0 over the weekend. Couple big matchups. Had Iowa State taking down Kansas State 24-21. Kansas took down Fresno State 31-7. Hawaii took down Stanford 23-20. I honestly watched a little bit of the Iowa State-Kansas State game. I didn't watch any of the Kansas-Fresno State game. And then I watched most of the Hawaii-Stanford game. I was busy as shit all weekend. Wanted to get some stuff done before we really get into football and everything. So, you always have to appease your wife, do some things that she wants to do, just spend some time with her. Kind of this last little bang before it's hey, you're probably not going to see me again for 4 or 5 more months on Saturdays and Sundays. So did some stuff around the house, spent some time with her. But we had some football back on. Football's back. Metal, I know that you were watching a little bit. Just looking at these games, I have some comments a little bit on probably Hawaii and Stanford and Iowa State, Kansas State. Not so much on Kansas, Fresno State, but what were your thoughts just thinking about the weekend and what you saw?
So I watched 2 games. I watched the Kansas Fresno State game, and then I watched the the Iowa State and Kansas State game. I loved the KSU versus ISU game. It was just dirty, gritty, tough. People
It looked
fumbling the
sloppy.
ball.
Was it
It looked
sloppy?
sloppy. Oh, it was so sloppy. Like you can just tell that offenses weren't ready for that day. And not helping was the precipitation of, that just hovers around the great country of Ireland all the time. So it was just dirty. It was gritty, like I said, and it was just a fun game, especially at the end. Kind of felt bad for Dylan Edwards there, where he had the ankle injury during the punt return, which I don't know how long he's going to be out for. Hopefully, he makes it back and recovers well with that game. But both quarterbacks, Beck and Johnson, like they both look pretty good. Like Beck went 14 for 28 with 2 touchdowns, and Avery Johnson with 21 for 30 with 2 touchdowns. And then at the end, it was where it was like 4th and 3, and they went for it. Iowa State did, and they got Beck got the ball off to Hansen, and a diving attempt to get in the end zone. But I mean, luckily that was in their favor right there, because I know Iowa State or Kansas State was wanting Iowa State to score quick because there was a lot of time left at that point. There was like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I know some people like listening. I know Anthony Ohio DG was had a bet for Henson, basically 0.5 over for a touchdown. Man, and he would have hit too. That's just
tough.
fucking pain right there. Yeah, that's tough. That's gambling though. You win some, you lose some.
Dude, the amount of people that I've talked to that have already told me about the sick beats that they had just in a few games in the week 0. Every single time I heard it, I was just like, yeah, football's back. Football's back in the biggest way. That's just how it goes.
Fucking big old dick.
Yeah.
That big old dick right there.
Bad beats. That's just part of it. Get them out early.
I know I was texting you because I was asking you, I was like, did you watch the Kansas, or are you watching the Kansas Fresno State game?
Yeah, you said Davis looked really good.
Yeah, Daniels. Jalen Daniels. Yeah, he was accurate as shit that day. 18 for 20, 3 touchdowns.
Wow.
170. I mean, he had 176 passing yards, but they got some really pretty good wide receivers. The Cam Pickett, I think he's a transfer, but he had 6 receptions, 77 yards, and 2 touchdowns, an average of 12.8 yards per reception. I mean, Kansas could be like a little sleeper team in 12.
Yeah. I think the Big 12 is
conference.
Yeah, the Big 12 is wide open. I mean, I think like Iowa State, Kansas State, both of those teams had a really good shot of winning it. I mean, they both still do, obviously. And then Kansas as well, like their quarterback's really fucking good. I mean, he's showed that he can play the last couple years. So that conference is as wide open as any. Like last year, Arizona State came out of it. I could see them coming out of it again. Obviously, they lost Cam Scattaboo, but they had their quarterback back, their coach. They have a really good head coach, young head coach. But that conference is as wide open as any of them. I think the other 3, you kind of have 2 or 3 teams you probably could argue, or probably you would assume will end up at the top. But the Big 12 is going to be interesting and going to be fun to watch this year.
Oh, yeah. It's been a wild card the past 5 years. You've had 2020 Oklahoma, 21 Baylor, 22 Kansas State, 23 Texas, and 24 Arizona State as Big 12 champions. It's just been a wild card every single year.
Yeah, and then now you got Texas and Oklahoma out of there, so it's going to be even more of a wild card, because I would assume if you look back before those 2 left the conference, the last 20 years that they were in there, I'm sure it was either one of those 2, probably over half the years. Now that they're gone, they're in the SEC. That conference is going to be pretty well wide open until somebody becomes a power at some point in time.
Do you know, besides 2023, the last time Texas won the Big 12 championship?
It was probably a while ago, because what is his fucking name? Their coach that was there before Sark. He was the offensive coordinator. Who's that? Who did you say?
It was Mac Brown.
No, why the fuck am I not thinking of this? He was the offensive coordinator at Ohio State, and then he went to Houston, and then he went to Texas and got fired. Dude, we are literal idiots.
Oh my God. Fuck. Hold on. Let me look this up. Head coach of Texas football.
Please clip this and like fucking.
Yes, please roast us.
Here we go.
No, I need past coaches. Fuck. It was.
Dude, we are literally idiots. Tom Herman. Oh my God. Yes, Tom Herman. They had a couple good years. We are literally fucking stupid. Anyways, please clip that up and just be like, these guys are literal fucking morons because that was bad. Anyways, it was on the tip of my tongue. I just couldn't think of it. The dude was the OC at Ohio State for fucking, I don't know, a few years. He was the OC when they won the Natty. I don't know how I couldn't think of that. Whatever. Anyways, I think he had a couple good years. He fell off a cliff towards the end. I think everybody thought he was gonna get some things turned around and whatnot, but never did. But yeah, I know between Mac Brown and basically Sark, they've had a couple coaches in between there, and it hasn't been the standard that Texas is used to. That's for sure. I'll just say that. But I don't know. What is the year before you said 2023? I would guess 2016.
2009.
2009 was the last time they won the Big 12.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess they had Charlie Strong after Mac Brown. Herman came in after that. And then, I mean, basically the last few years of Mac Brown, the Strong and the Herman era was pretty brutal for the most part. I mean, they had a couple years, like you always remember whenever they won the Sugar Bowl against Georgia. And then you had Sam Ellinger on stage, and he's doing the "We're back." And then after that, like they sucked for like the next 2-3 years or whatever it was. So Sark's got him on the right path though now, but that's shocking. From 2023, they hadn't won it since 2009. That surprises the shit out of me. I didn't realize they were that bad.
Yeah, I'm looking at this list, and like Oklahoma won since Texas last before. At 23, Oklahoma won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times.
Yeah.
Like Bob Stoops and I forgot how good Lincoln Riley was.
Dude, yeah. I mean, he went on a run with Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they won it with Caleb Williams, but he was obviously there for his freshman campaign, and they were really good. Yeah, they were good under Lincoln Riley. He had them in a really good place. And then they had Stoops there before, so they had two really good coaches. They've fallen off a little bit, but I think a little bit of that has to go to a lot stronger conference now going to the SEC. So Brent Venables is just trying to get them back on track. So hopefully they can have a good year this year, I guess, for your sake, hopefully not in week 2. But it would be good to see Oklahoma be competitive again and kind of get into the picture. A lot of those big names, big brands that are out there, you want to see them good. You want to see them in the spotlight. It just makes the sport better all around.
Oh, yeah. It's like it's nostalgia, like growing up watching like Oklahoma with like Sam Bradford and Adrian Peterson,
Yeah.
Just running college football.
Yeah. On another note, I don't know if you watched the Hawaii-Stanford game at all, but that was a game that I sat down and watched, and oh my God, that game was brutal. That was one of the worst football games I think I've ever seen. Stanford's quarterback is fucking horrible. On another note, I don't know why Stanford stopped running ball towards the end of the game. I would say midway through the third quarter into the fourth quarter, they were starting to hit on some runs. I think before that point, their running back, I was looking at the stats. I think he was averaging like 4 yards per carry. Probably from about the middle of the third quarter into the fourth quarter, he started averaging about 6 yards per carry. So you were starting to gash him a little bit. They just got a little too cute, started putting the ball in the air. Obviously, he had the really bad pick. Threw it right to the guy, kind of made a JT Tuimoloau type interception, tipped it up in the air, tipped it to himself, caught it. But that quarterback from Stanford was fucking horrible. That was Stanford 100% should have won that game. Shot themselves in the foot a couple too many times, and Hawaii came out on top. It was It was like a entertaining game, I guess you could say, because it was close. It was just kind of one of those things that's like it's nice to see football on the screen again, but it was not a very good brand of football to watch.
Oh God, he went 15 for 30 for 109 yards. That's like
Dude, it
that's
was
some
worse.
Davis Warren.
I feel like it was worse than that though. It was bad, dude. It was bad.
He had
Some of the worst quarterback play I
QBR
think I've ever
13.
seen.
QBR of 13, and Micah Alejado had a QBR of 49.5.
That's crazy.
That's terrible.
The other interesting fact of that game as well is Stanford's running back Ford. It was the first touchdown a Stanford running back had scored since September of 2023. Almost 2 full seasons. They haven't had a running back score in almost 2 years. That's absurd. I have no idea. Dude, I know they had that receiver that was pretty good. He went to the draft. I can't remember where he went. He was pretty good, but I mean, he wasn't fucking Jeremiah Smith by any means. He was a good player, but I would just like you couldn't get on the one and hand it off to the damn quarterback one time. Like, that's insane to me. That was crazy, absolutely crazy.
I'm curious now on what the rushing stats were in 2023. They had.
I mean, and last year they didn't score a single touchdown. A running back didn't score a single touchdown last year.
They had a what?
I think it's more likely that you would have a wide receiver not score for that extended period of time than a running back. Like, how many times do you just get inside the 5, turn around and hand the fucking ball off, and then just go?
They had 400 and no. Rushing as a total, they had 1,423. And that was oh my God. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people over 200 yards. And that's like quarterback.
6 guys over 200 yards. Yeah, I'm sure there's a quarterback or two in that, but that's still crazy.
Their quarterbacks had more rushing yards than their running backs.
But still, like, I don't care. The running back can suck. Like, you had to have the ball inside the 5 a couple times. Like, you couldn't fucking punch one in. Like, these are Division I athletes. Just turn. I don't care how bad the guy sucks. He's at least coordinated in some way. He's at Stanford. He's at a Power 4 school. Like, just turn around, hand the ball off, and get in the end zone. That's crazy. I don't know.
That is wild. That's
but
terrible.
in other news,
I fell off since Harbaugh left.
Yeah. In other news, I don't know if you saw Avery Johnson's dad and brother were fighting after the Kansas State game. I'm sure that was very alcohol driven, but pretty crazy. I don't know any of the details around it, but there was a video of Avery Johnson's legit dad and Avery Johnson's legit brother, and his dad was beating the fuck out of his son. Just absolutely crazy. Just wild shit.
Fucking wild.
Wild. And then on another note, your boy, Michigan pulled it. They made the decision. Bryce Underwood, the future is now. Bryce Underwood, QB1 for Michigan. I feel like this is a little bit probably more obvious than Julian's saying, but I think this was pretty obvious the day that he signed at Michigan. He was going to be the quarterback. They probably just waited this long. I assume, I haven't been listening or really following Michigan a whole lot, but I assume they kind of wanted him to go in and win the job, not just hand it to him, make him work for it a little bit. But I think this is always the inevitable. He was always going to be quarterback 1, game 1. So, yeah, number 1 recruit in all the country starting game 1 for Michigan. He's got 1 week to kind of get some things figured out, and then he's got to go over to Oklahoma and try to win a big game on the road under the lights in prime time.
Yeah, so I looked at I was looking at the depth chart earlier today. So Underwood's QB1 and QB2 is Jaden Davis, and dear God, his fucking rotation is so bad. And then Garcia is 3, and then Herb Street is 4 because Mikey Keene and Davis Warren are both hurt, and Mikey Keene, if he was healthy and active, he would be QB2. But I mean,
Davis
I'm not
Warren is
surprised.
still on the team.
Yeah, this is the
Are you
fifth year.
serious?
Yeah,
I thought he was
he
a
got
fifth
hurt.
year last year.
No, he was. I think last year was year 4.
Huh. Interesting.
But,
I
like
did
all
not.
the leukemia shit.
Yeah. I
Probably
knew he had.
ended his time.
I knew he had cancer and shit, which is fucking awesome that came back and played. Like that's incredible. But I did not
Yeah.
know he was still on the team. That's wild. That's wild.
Yes. So I mean, I'm not really surprised that Bryce Underwood is starting over everyone else. I mean,
No, not at all.
if from what everyone is saying that he's the most talented prospect or like he's the most talented quarterback at University of Michigan or like the best like true freshman any of these scouts have seen. I mean, everybody wants to see Bryce Underwood play on Saturday.
Yeah,
Everybody wants to see him play.
and you don't give the guy $12 million to sit on the bench.
Fuck no.
Like he was always
Fuck
going
no.
to start, and it's not just because of the money. Like obviously that plays a pretty big factor into it. But he was the number one recruit. Michigan's quarterback play was absolute dog shit last year. So yeah, it was always going to be Bryce Underwood.
Yeah, I was listening to the Big Ten Network training camp, like just an overview, and like Jake Butt was talking to Max Bredesen, and Bredesen was saying, I guess he told Butt that Bryce Underwood can make any throw, and he's gonna make throws that are just gonna shock people come throughout the season, and I guess the entire team is just so happy that they have a quarterback that is, possibly competent.
Yeah,
But I
I
mean, we'll
mean,
see what happens.
I think what you're going to see from Bryce Underwood this year is you're going to see really, really, really good moments and really, really, really bad moments. And that just comes with the nature of a 5-star, all everything, number one recruit, true freshman quarterback. You're going to see the reason why he was a number one recruit. You're going to see him make some plays that are just going to drop your jaw, both with his feet and with his arm. And then you're going to have some head scratching moments. You're going to have some freshman moments. That's just what comes whenever you have a true freshman quarterback out there. But we've talked about this before. Michigan has probably as friendly of an offense as it comes with just getting a quarterback up to speed, getting them familiar with the offense, getting them comfortable with the offense. Michigan is as easy of an offense for a quarterback to go into, learn how to operate in, and be successful in as anybody. They're not going to ask him, I don't think, to do a whole lot to start. I think as the year goes on, they're going to start to put more and more on his plate and ask him to do more things because why wouldn't you? You have a top-end talent, and that's just part of developing him. But I think he's going into a really good situation. He's not going to have to be asked to do a whole lot right away, and then it's just like a week-by-week basis. You just keep building, put more on his plate, and then by the end of his 3 years, I assume he'll leave after 3 years, you hope that you have a first-round draft pick, which is, I think, what everybody's anticipation is, and I would assume that's what Michigan fans' expectation is.
Fucking big dude. Like especially like coming out of high school being the 5-star recruit that he is. Like he, from what like the scouts are saying of like from the fall camps, like he's incredibly athletic. Like he is evasive. He gets the ball down the field and like runs pretty fast as well and just evading tackles. But I mean, I'm incredibly like excited just as a Michigan fan to see this on Saturday. And guess what? You know what, Divided? I'm going to the fucking game. So I'll be there and I'm going to see this shit happen live. And I hope I see some tutties from Bryce Underwood either on his feet or through the air or some like some running back, tutties from Haynes and Marshall, but I'm so excited to see what happens this Saturday. Like
Hell yeah.
I feel like this is kind of like the anticipation to like Christmas, not Crispin, Christmas. You know, like when you're a kid, you just wait for the days to go by until like that Christmas morning you're waking up and you're opening up gifts. And this is what this new season feels like right now. We're not gonna have fucking Davis Warren or Alex Orgy. Oh my! I don't know. I don't know if you saw the highlights of that, by the way, last week, with the UNLV versus was it Idaho? Who they play?
Idaho
Idaho
State, right?
State. Yeah, like the first drive by UNLV, which is funny. Their colors are scarlet and gray. Um, Orgy does a read option, takes the ball, and then he goes into the end zone and fucking fumbles into the end zone. And I was
I
like,
did
oh
see
god.
that. You texted me about it, and then I saw the highlight on Twitter later. But that game was crazy because UNLV was 30.5 point favorites, and they won, I believe, but they only won by like a score, and it was like tight basically the whole way through, if I remember right.
Yeah. The first drive, the Idaho State drove the ball down the field, kicked a field goal, and then when they had that fumble, um, Idaho State did some basically Statue of Liberty, did the Philly special on them. That was crazy. And
Yeah.
you know who UNLV's head coach is?
Is it Butch Jones?
Dan Mullen.
Dan Mullen, yes. That's right. That's right. I knew it
Yeah,
was I knew it was a notable name.
Dan Mullen.
Yeah, that's
Interesting.
he's trying to resurrect his career. He did the whole TV bit for a little bit and trying to get back in the game and maybe get another big time job, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's get into our top games of the week. First, we're going to start off with number 1, Texas, the game of the week, taking on number 3, Ohio State in Columbus. Ohio State 2.5 point favorites, over under set at 47.5. Ohio State is minus 120 on the money line. Texas is plus 110 on the money line. Metal, just his first thoughts. What are you thinking going into this game, and then I'll kind of dive in a little bit.
So, going into this game, obviously we have a new starter for Ohio State. We have Julian Sane. Still have Jeremiah Smith out there in the perimeter, as well as Carnell Tate. Ednessen, am I saying that right?
Ennis.
I think so. Ennis.
Yep.
I know you played last year, but up and coming, possibly going to be one of the new star wide receivers for Ohio State. Then Max Clare. Then you have Peoples and Donaldson, which I think Peoples is RB1. I could be wrong.
Yep, you're right.
But I think what Ohio State needs to do, especially in this environment, especially since Arch Manning's coming out there, played a couple games last year. They really just need to shut down the run game with Matt Patricia's defense, and kind of just like look at it in a sense that if the like Texas wide receivers like get out like in the zone and stuff, like Ohio State has the best, probably the best secondary safety in college football, and Caleb Downs needs to make some plays. And I think what's going to happen is I feel like this is going to be a defensive effort between Ohio State and Texas, to where I think it's going to be a really low-score game. And I know I wrote it on Twitter that I predicted Ohio State 27, Texas 24. But just kind of like thinking about this and going over like the analytics, I feel like it's going to be 17-14 Ohio State. And I feel like there's going to be a couple of big plays on offense with Peoples, and I feel like there's going to be a big play with Jeremiah Smith. And then like defensively, they need to like call some turnovers. Like Ohio State, Matt Patricia, they need to call some turnovers. Basically, put the pressure on Arch Manning, and since it's like this is going to be his first like real start against like a top 5 team, and they're not playing Mercer or Morehead State or whatever shitty school that he got starts against last year. This is going to be the first test for him as well. So I think it's going to be close defensive effort for both teams. 17-14 Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you on basically everything that you said. I think a really big part of this is, like you said, this is Arch Manning's first time playing a high-level team as well. Julian Sane obviously is seeing his first real time. Manning has had a little bit of playing time before, obviously against some less superior opponents. But I think it's going to come down to which quarterback can avoid like the back-breaking play, or which quarterback can avoid the back-breaking turnover. Because I do agree with you. I think that there's going to be some turnovers, most certainly. But just both defenses are insanely good. Like, you're probably looking at two of the top 10, top 20 defenses in all of college football this year. I would not be surprised if both of them are in the top 10 whenever it's all said and done at the end of the year. So when you have a new quarterback coming into a situation like that, they're going to make some mistakes. The defensive coordinators are going to do some things to try to confuse them. I think for Ohio State's sake, you got to figure out a way to stay out of second and third and long. Like, that is a recipe for disaster, where Texas's strength is their D-line. They have really good pass rushers, guys that can get after the quarterback and kind of cause some havoc. If you live in second and third and long, where you're in those obvious passing downs, I don't think that is great for you with Julian saying making his first start. I don't think that's a scenario you want to live in. That's never a scenario you want to live in with any football team, but even more so whenever you have basically a true freshman quarterback. He's been here only 1 year, but he's making his first start against the number one team. Like, you don't want to get in situations where you are living in second and third and long, and you got to make 8 to 10 yard passes to convert. That's when turnovers happen. Yep. That's whenever strip sacks happen. That's whenever his confidence goes down ultimately. So I look at this as Ohio State's D-line versus Texas's O-line, Texas's D-line versus Ohio State's O-line. I think that both defensive lines have an advantage a little bit over the offensive lines. But I think Ohio State's defensive line has a little bit more of an advantage over Texas's offensive line. There's been reports out of Texas here through their fall camp and whatnot that the offensive line has struggled a lot. They've had a couple guys leave over the offseason. So I'm really looking for guys like Kenyatta Jackson, Caden Curry, C.J. Hicks, Bo Atkins, looking for them to kind of get after Arch Manning, make them live in second and third and long, stop the run, make them convert long second and third downs, and really get after Manning, speed him up, make him make mistakes, things like that. Ohio State has an experienced offensive line returning. I think that they are a very good unit, but Texas's strength is their defensive line. So a team's strength ultimately is more times than not still going to overcome whatever the opposition is or whatever the unit is that they're going up against. So I still think that will be a struggle for Ohio State. They're going to have to stay ahead of the change, stay on schedule, and really work on protecting Julian, I think.
Do you think Cartline needs to be aggressive, like, come Saturday?
Yes, I think that he needs to be extremely aggressive on first down. I think that he needs to get creative. It's basically exactly like the conversation that you and I have had about how Ohio State kind of changed their approach when it came to play calling when they were playing Oregon and Tennessee, where on first down it wasn't just turn around, hand the ball off, and it's obvious it's first down and we're going to run the ball. It was send guys in motion, get some play action, get some quick, easy passes out to the flat, find ways to get the talented guys the ball on the edge. Get him confidence early, kind of make it 50-50 on first down where you have Texas defensive players kind of guessing what's coming. Get some quick, easy throws, get him kind of settled in, and I think that that's the way that you're going to end up finding yourself in 2nd and 5, 3rd and 3. Just getting those simple throws, staying ahead of schedule, and really not putting him in any situation where he has to be Superman or convert a 3rd and 11. That's just a recipe for disaster for Ohio State, and that's a recipe for disaster for Texas. But I think that if you want to bet in this game, I would definitely take the first half under. I think that both teams are going to come out slow as fuck, and I see it being like 6-3 at halftime.
Yeah, it could, like, we could see, like, maybe like a 10-10, like a tied, like basically like a tied game at halftime. I do agree, like, with, like, the recipe for disaster is Julian saying in a situation where it's like 2nd or 3rd and long or 2nd and long. Just because, like, when you throw an inexperienced quarterback in these situations, like, that stuff has developed like over time, like how to basically like to read the defenses and like ensure like whatever like routes that are available at the time, like you can get to open receivers. And if Sayan's not comfortable at that position, then that's just going to be a problem at that point. Like if Ohio State can mix up the run game and pass game to where, like, what just happened?
What you mean?
Oh, it said nothing. Never mind. Something popped up on the screen. If Ohio State can mix up the run game and kind of like basically attack the edge, and to like hit the weaknesses of like Texas defense, I think they should be fine. Just kind of like use the run game to open up the pass game to where like they can get the ball down the field, to their star receivers like Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. Like Enesson, am I saying it? Enesson?
Ennis.
Ennis. If
Innis.
Innis. If they can use Ennis like kind of like on the small drag routes, like being like the slot receiver, like he can be like a notable star on Saturday.
Yeah,
where he could probably make some big plays too. Some like Jeremiah Smith needs to make, and Carnell Tate and Ennis, they need to make Julian Sayin feel comfortable, if that makes sense. Like they need to make the plays, and then obviously catch the ball and get yards after catch, so that Sayin can get comfortable as his repetitions are going throughout the game. But yeah, I still like stand like 17-14 Ohio State. I kind of want it to be I kind of want you guys to blow out Texas because some of the Texas fans on Twitter are just fucking retarded. As much as I hate Ohio State, like some of these Texas fans need to get fucking humbled quick, like real quick.
Yeah, you'll have that in every fan base though. I mean, there's always dumb fucks in every fan base. Ohio State has theirs, Michigan has theirs, and Texas is gonna have theirs. It's kind of just what comes when you have a really big fan base like that. But I'm not expecting much from Jeremiah. I'm not gonna lie. If you remember correctly, in that semifinal, Jeremiah did next to nothing. He had one catch for 3 yards last year.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be huge that the other guys step up, and I think it's going to be huge that Julian isn't locked in on him and not forcing it his way. He's going to have to go through his read and progress, and like I keep saying, stay on schedule. Whenever he hits the back foot of his drop, like deliver the ball. Fine, like don't sit and hold the ball too long. Don't sit there and force it to Jeremiah just because he's your best player. You legit need to go through your reads and get the other guys involved because they're going to be blanketing Jeremiah again. So that means there's going to be opportunities elsewhere. They're probably going to have at least two guys shaded to his side of the field, I would say almost at all times, which leaves basically like 2/3 of the field where there's going to be open spots. So I think it's going to be crucial for him to basically just go through his reads and not force anything, and it's going to end up being these other guys I think that are going to have to step up and kind of benefit from everything. If they can kill him early, I think that you could see Jeremiah make some catches late, but I don't think you'll see Jeremiah do really much of anything in the first half. If Jeremiah does do something, I think it's going to be later in the game, and that's because Ohio State's had success getting the ball to the other guys where they're going to have to adjust a little bit.
I want to see, we haven't really talked about this either. Like I want to see Max Clare make some big plays. Like the number one portal transfer from Purdue.
Yeah.
Like I want to see Ohio State get some big plays on the tight end, especially to create separation from the receivers. Like I feel like Max Clare is going to get used a lot on Saturday.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think that a tight end is a quarterback's best friend, especially a young quarterback. A lot of times you have the tight end, I mean, more times than not, they're probably going over the middle than they are in the flat or to the outsides. So I think that you'll see Claire make some plays over the middle. I know in the spring game they connected on some seam routes across the middle. Just if you had a too high safety look, safety just splitting right down the two safeties and hitting them over the middle. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I think that if you're looking for a good bet, I think that Max Clare's yards I think would be a good bet. I think the line I saw on Twitter is something like 33.5, and I was expecting it to at least I was expecting it to be at least 40. But I think that he's going to be a huge part of the offense. Again, going to be Julian Sands, one of his best friends. Just makes the life easier of a young quarterback even more when you have a really good tight end. So, other than that, I mean, I'm excited for this game. My prediction, I honestly don't really know. I sort of have a hard time ruling with Ohio State, to be completely honest. Just looking at the headlines of new quarterback, first-time play caller ever. You have a quarterback who's never played a game before or never started a game before. You have a play caller that's never called plays before. And then you have a defensive coordinator that hasn't called plays or been a DC in a couple years. So a lot of question marks. I think there's more question marks on Ohio State's end than there is Texas. Obviously, Texas has to come into a tough atmosphere and get it done. But if you held a gun to my head, I think I would have to take Texas plus 2.5.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment.
Yes, sir. So now let's get on to your boys. Unless, did you have one more comment?
What is the worst thing that, I mean, besides obviously getting blown out, like, in your perspective, like, what is something that you obviously, like, do not want to see come Saturday? Like,
I don't want to see Julian Sand have his confidence shattered. I don't want to see him come out and throw a few interceptions. I don't want to see him have happy feet in the pocket, be forcing things. I don't want to see him be uncomfortable. I want to see him run the offense. It does not mean he needs to be Superman. I just want to see him run the offense, make the simple throws that he needs to make, and move the chains. I think that's all you want to see out of him. Move the chains, keep the offense on schedule, and lean on your defense. Don't avoid the big mistake. I think that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Especially, like, you don't want that confidence destroyed, because that stuff follows you, like, throughout the season. And, like, Saturday is not the time to have your confidence absolutely just shambled and shattered in pieces.
Right, because it'll probably take at least a few games to get it back. And then the next time he faces a top-end opponent, even if he does have his confidence back, he's still going to remember the last time he played a really good team. So let's get on to your boys in Michigan. They take on New Mexico. Sounds like you're going to be at the game, so that'll be a good time for you to see the new Bryce Underwood, see if he is as advertised as everybody is saying. Line comes in at Michigan, minus 36.5, over-under set at 49.5. What are you looking for in game one for the Wolverines? Metal? All right, I think Metal has a false alarm, so I'm going to just put some bullshit together here. We'll go on to LSU Clemson until he gets back. So LSU Clemson, I'll wait for Metal to get back to really dive into it. But obviously the main storyline here, LSU has not won a week one game. I tweeted this earlier. LSU has not won a week one game since 2019, whenever Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson were all there, which is absolutely insane. Brian Kelly, I believe this is his fourth season as a head coach of LSU. He had a pretty good first year, went to the SEC championship. Things were looking up. I think he surprised some people there in that first year. Second year of Jaden Daniels, had no defense. Really kind of underperformed. I think that people had higher expectations for that season, especially after going to the SEC championship the year before. But other than that, I think that the biggest knock on LSU has always been defense. LSU brought in 18 transfers this year. They brought in 18 guys through the transfer portal. 10 of those guys that they brought in, the top 10 guys that they brought in, 7 of them were on the defense. So I think Brian Kelly kind of understands that he's a little bit on the hot seat here. I think that he understands that defense has ultimately been their biggest issue since his time it's been there. The offense has never really been an issue. They've always had a quarterback that can play, and Nussmeier and Daniels, obviously. They've always been able to put up points, but it's really been the defense that has kind of been the downfall or what's been really holding them back the past few years, which is kind of surprising because those teams that Brian Kelly had at Notre Dame, I feel like there's always one thing that you could always count on with that. They would always have a solid defense. So a little bit surprising, at least from Brian Kelly's standpoint, just of how the defense has looked. But he was able to get some funding together, have the NIL funds to bring in some of these proven transfer guys. So it'll be interesting to see how they look, how they bounce back. I think this is a bigger game for LSU than it is Clemson. I know that both coaches are sort of in prove-it mode. I would say Brian Kelly is more so in prove-it mode, being 0-3 and then making the college football playoff down in LSU. That just doesn't fly down there. But I think Dabo, with him being in the playoff last year, they have a ton of pieces back this year. A lot of high expectations in Clemson this year for Dabo. But I would say when you look at the coaching-wise, just who this game is bigger for, who the implications are bigger for, I think you have to go Brian Kelly. If he goes into another season of going 8-4, I think if he misses the playoffs, the heat's really going to turn up. If he goes 8-4, I think that there's a realistic expectation that he could be gone. I think that the people down in LSU he's kind of outwarmed his welcome a little bit. I think they're ready to see a little bit of a difference there, especially if he doesn't get things going. Obviously, he has Garrett Nussmeier back for a second year. LSU always has talent on offense, but I think if they can put the defense together, I think that they may have something here. We'll check on Metal, see what's going on with him. He's got a situation going on, so I'm just going to keep talking for the time being. Other than that, the next game that we have on the docket is Notre Dame and Miami. I think Notre Dame's going to win this game. I think Notre Dame's a far superior team. Notre Dame, I don't really understand the hate around Notre Dame. They return a lot of guys back, I think especially on defense. Obviously, they lost Howard Cross, good D tackle that's currently with the Bengals. They lost Benjamin Morrison, but even so, Benjamin Morrison, I don't think he played like the last half of the year. He didn't play in particular all throughout the playoffs and whatnot. But they have a ton back. Obviously, they named C.J. Carr as a starting quarterback this year. I think that there is a world where C.J. Carr could be an upgrade from Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard reminded me a lot of Will Howard, where you'll take that dude every day of the week in your locker room. He is as good of a leader as anybody that you're ever going to find in the sport. He's going to run the offense as good as anybody, and their run game was elite. Notre Dame had a fantastic run game with Riley Leonard, whether that was him keeping it, whether that was getting Jeremiah Love involved. But I think that there's a world where C.J. Carr can elevate Notre Dame's offense. I think adding a dimension of being able to throw the ball and really pressure teams downfield is going to massively benefit Notre Dame. It's going to massively benefit Jeremiah Love. I think that a lot of teams were able to kind of stack the box last year and dare Notre Dame to throw the ball over the top, dare Riley Leonard to beat him with his arm. Where this year, if you have a C.J. Carr, and again, we don't know what C.J. Carr is. Obviously, he was a highly rated recruit, came in, won the job. You expect the passing game to be better, just the talent that you heard of him coming out of high school, getting into college and whatnot. So you would expect the passing game to be a little bit better. They have a couple of receivers that are back that played pretty well last year. Grotehouse is the name of one. I can't remember the name of the other guy. But they got two receivers that are back last year. Had pretty good seasons, had pretty good national championships. Grotehouse did. But I think if you can get C.J. Carr to really elevate this passing game, I think what that's going to do is pull the defense out of the box. They have to go and then start guarding the pass game, and that's whenever you can start hitting on explosive runs with Jeremiah Love. The other side of this is I would argue Jeremiah Love is as good out of the backfield as he is just turning around and handing the ball off to him. I think he is a top 3 player in college football. I think Jeremiah Love deserves to have his name up there in the likes with Jeremiah Smith, with the likes of Caleb Downs in terms of just like studs in the game. I think Jeremiah Love is that good. I'm that high on Jeremiah Love. So if you have kind of the threat to be able to spread the ball out, get it to your receivers, get it to him out of the backfield, give it to him in the backfield, handing the ball off to him, I think you're not only going to see an elevated offense in terms of passing game, but I think you're going to also in turn see the run game be a little bit more effective. Maybe not effective in terms of like the yards that they're gaining, but I think you'll see a lot more explosive plays just because the defense always has to account for the passing ability. So I'm very high on Notre Dame this year. When it comes to Miami, I'm not exactly sure what they are. I don't know how much trust I have in Carson Beck. They lost some pieces to the draft last year. Obviously, Cam Ward's gone. Xavier Restrepo, one of their better receivers, is gone. So they've got a lot of shoes to fill. I think if you can get Carson Beck from 2 years ago at Georgia, you might have something down there in Miami. But we saw him last year. I mean, the guy was pretty shaky. You didn't really know what you were going to get from him. But I think if you can kind of get him settled, get him back to his 2023 version, I think that you might have something in potentially a good year down in Miami. I do not think that they're going to win the ACC. I think that conference is going to belong to Clemson, but I think you could very well find them in the championship game. This being said, I think Notre Dame definitely wins this game. I think it could be close early, just with it obviously being a top 10 matchup. You're going on the road. That's always tough to go into somebody else's stadium and do it, whether it's a ranked team or not. Notre Dame -2.5. I would honestly – I'm taking Notre Dame. I like Notre Dame. You also have them at -130 on the money line. I think I would be comfortable even getting this line at -3.5, -4.5 for a little bit more juice on the odds. But I think there's definitely a world where you can see Notre Dame win this game by a touchdown. So should be a good game. A lot to talk about. Go from there. What's up, Metal?
All right, I'm back. Sorry, I had a little quick emergency. I was like, oh shit. Yeah. Anyways, so
no, you're good.
We were talking about.
I went through the LSU, Clemson, and Notre Dame Miami game like very, very, very briefly, but we can go back through them just to kind of fill the time.
So for Michigan, New Mexico, so what I'm kind of expecting Saturday going into the game. Obviously Bryce Underwood making the throws that he needs to throw. Hopefully not too much is asked of him. I do want to see Donovan McCauley and Morgan also play pretty well. Goodwin and Simpson out there. I do want to see Klein as well, which is one of our tight ends. He's a senior this year. Hopefully the outside and also the tight ends help out Bryce Underwood, especially first game, night game. Not really playing anybody, we're just playing New Mexico, but I just want to see that confidence built up to where Bryce Underwood, get some reps and sets in there. See some different style of offense a little bit. Obviously, still establish the run game with Haynes and Marshall. For the offensive side. Now for the defensive side, it's probably something I'm really excited about, especially with our D line out there with Benny Moore, Williams Guy, and Pierce. I think Michigan's defensive line might be the deepest in the country, and they might shock a lot of people. And that's why I think their D line might be one of the top D line defensive linemen in just in the nation. I know losing Graham and Grant was just a huge loss, but I feel like Michigan is kind of reloading this year, and I think Wink Martindale knows what he's doing with those guys, and especially outside on the perimeter, with Barry and Metcalf, and also Hill. Which I'm also excited to see because last year during Ohio State and Alabama games, so those guys, they came up big, and especially against Indiana and Illinois, but we fucking lost those games. But excited to see Rod Moore come back. Hopefully, he stays healthy this year. The other Metcalf brother, I'm really excited to see him as well. And the freshman. The linebackers with Houseman, that guy is probably going to be one of the best linebackers in the country. So hopefully We see a lot of defensive stops, some turnovers come Saturday, and I'm just incredibly excited to see Michigan football come out there. What I don't want to see turnovers by Bryce Underwood. I don't want him to see him force passes that he in small tight windows that he probably couldn't make. I know I was reading a lot of reports that he was lacking the touch, and obviously, like throughout the season, you kind of just develop that. And it's something that JJ McCarthy was struggling with for the longest time too. Was like just getting the feel for the touch of the ball and just not overthrowing your receivers. I think Bryce Underwood probably has. Uh, he definitely has a better arm, I would say, than JJ as like in strength. I want to see the deep ball, but I don't want to see plays like I said earlier that are just forced into small tight windows where it just completely screws up his rotation, and then we're just causing turnover or we're giving the ball back to New Mexico at that point. It's a quick turnaround for Bryce, and it's not the same situation as Julian saying, because Julian's saying like you got to get up and fucking go, like you're getting thrown in the sharks, but you got one game, to figure these things out. Uh, build some confidence in yourself, and then come next week, we got Oklahoma in Norman, so that's going to be a hostile environment, and I just want to see, I want to see mistakes being made. Obviously, the small mistakes, some missed passes here and there. I just want to make sure that Bryce is, he's ready and he's competent, to run this Michigan offense, which I have full confidence that he can do it. So yeah, this is gonna be really exciting. I can't wait for this shit to happen. Like
Yeah,
Saturday needs to happen tomorrow.
yeah, yeah. Don't we all wish that? But no, I
Yeah.
I mean, this is a 36.5 point spread for a reason. Michigan's going to go in and kick the shit out of them. If I had to predict a final score, I would predict something like 38-3. If I had to throw money on this game, I think I would take the under. Just more so for the fact I think Michigan's going to put up a big number, but I think Michigan's defense is going to be really good, like it is every single year. I think it'll be a case where you could see Michigan get it right around 40, but I don't think I could see. I don't think New Mexico will get over 6 or 7 points. So if I was going to put a bet on this game, I would definitely think I would take the under. But no, I agree with you. I think that you want to get Bryce Underwood out there. You want to just see him run the offense. You want to see him make some throws. Keep things simple for him. I think that you just want to get him out there, get his first game under his belt. You want to see him make mistakes, kind of like you said. I mean, those are teachable moments. That's how you grow. That's how you learn from things. But again, you want to see those mistakes be very minimum. You don't want to see throwing a pick six, like throwing an interception, fumbling the ball, trying to do too much, things like that. But I think you do want to see some mistakes from him. Those are teaching moments, like I said. But there's not a whole lot to talk about here. This is going to be a blowout. But I think that it's fun as fuck to – you're going to see the number one recruit go out and make his first start. And I think it's all about getting his feet wet, keeping things simple, and really just seeing him grow from quarter one to quarter four. I think that there's a lot of growth that can happen in between there. And, yeah, he's got a week to kind of get the first game, get the rust off, and get it figured out and go into Oklahoma, trying to play some mistake-free football.
I think, like, what is interesting about this is, JJ's first start as the first full-time game he started was in 2022 when him and Cade McNamara were having a QB battle. And Cade, I think he started game one. Cade started game one against Western Michigan, and then JJ started game two against Hawaii, and you can just see like JJ was going out there slinging and throwing the deep ball, and had like 3 touchdowns. To where like this is kind of like the same thing, like just a confidence booster game for Bryce Underwood, where like he can go out there, make minimal mistakes, but also get the ball in tight windows, and just make big plays. And I'm also excited to see like what Bryce Underwood can do with his feet as well, and which like I haven't really talked about that much, but like I foresee Lindsey possibly getting in there some like RPOs with Bryce Underwood, which is something that like I wanted last year with Alex Orgy. But the guy couldn't fucking, hit the broadside of a barn at all.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
remember watching that Texas game, and he had like I think it was like a was it like a wheel route to the run to Donovan Edwards, and he just threw it right at his fucking feet. I was like, dude, we are fucked. But hopefully we don't see that this year with Bryce Underwood. Definitely some variation on the offense, to open up the run game and also the pass game, vice versa. So let's do it. Let's see it. Let's see it happen.
Yeah. I think this is all about getting Bryce Underwood, getting him out there, getting his first game under his belt, and let's get on to Oklahoma. So, not a whole lot to talk about here. I think there will be more to talk about on Michigan front next week as we get there. All right, the big matchup Saturday night. You got number 9 Clemson visiting number 9 LSU visiting number 4 Clemson. Whenever you were gone, Metal, I had talked about this is a massive game for Brian Kelly. I think, and when we talk about the headlines there, the first bullet point says, can LSU finally win a week 1 game? I knew that this was an issue for LSU. Today I actually went back and looked at when was the last time that LSU actually won a week 1 game, and it was 2019 LSU, the national championship team. So they haven't won a week 1 game in basically 5 seasons. So I think that this is obviously not the ideal matchup for them going on the road to Clemson to try to get this done. But I think the time is ticking for Brian Kelly. I think that LSU fans, he's kind of outwarmed his welcome. He hasn't really lived up to the expectations. He had a really good first year where they went to the SEC championship. Then a couple years after that, second year, Jaden Daniels, you had a Heisman Trophy winner, and you couldn't even get in the playoffs. Your defense was dog shit. Last year, the team was average. I think they had an 8-4 record. But the thing I noted whenever you were gone is they've had issues on defense. And LSU actually had the number 1 transfer portal class of any team in college football. They brought in 18 transfers. And of their top 10 transfers, 7 guys were on defense. So I think that was a point of emphasis for Brian Kelly was, for one, to raise some funds for the NIL to go out and get some of these proven players that were out there on the market. But I think that there was an even more focus on bringing in defensive guys and really trying to revamp this defense because the offense has always been there. I mean, they've always had talent, whether it's Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors. Jaden Daniels, Garrett Nussmeier is obviously pretty good as well. They've had talent on the offensive side of the ball. I think it's really been their defense that has kind of held them back to this point.
Yeah, I think with LSU, they got Garrett Nussmeier. Where last year, he was slinging a ball, had over 4,000 yards, and 4,000 yards in passing, and then I think his completion percentage was in the mid 60s. I mean, this guy can play. You can see out there, he's a competent QB, but when you got, you have a strong quarterback and you have a weak defense, that's just a recipe for disaster at that point. You're kind of just set up for failure.
It's a race to 40 every week, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I totally agree with your statement on having Jaden Daniels, and he was a Heisman winner and possibly the best quarterback coming out of that draft class in 2024. And you just completely fumble that to where you can't even make the college football playoffs. Yeah, I think this year definitely in this game, Brian Kelly is definitely on the hot seat at this point. I mean, if you lose this game, which I predict, I think LSU is going to lose this game.
I agree.
Cade Klubnik is a really good quarterback. They also have strong and experienced defensive tackles, and I also think Clemson might have the best wide receiver room in college football. They got some kids out there that can just ball, and if Brian Kelly loses this game, there's going to be some mountains being shambled in Baton Rouge at this point. You can't just continue to keep losing your first game. Playing these tough Power 5 football teams, and you're just getting absolutely destroyed. Like last year, losing to Lincoln Riley's USC the first game, which
And
like,
that was a
lot of
bad
people,
USC team too.
Oh yeah, everyone thought like Moss was going to be like a great quarterback that year, and he just ended up being shit. So yeah, you definitely have to go out there and win this game. I mean, that's the obvious at this point, but I just don't think LSU has the defensive weapons this year to stop Clemson's Dabo Swinney's powerhouse offense this year. To which my prediction for the entire year, I think Clemson's going to the national championship. So
I could definitely see that.
Yeah, so
I think that
I
this. Go ahead.
So I think for the score of this game, I think it's going to be 31-17 Clemson.
Oh boy, you better outline that -4.5 then. You better make that 10.5 so you can get some extra juice on that. Get some better odds there, Metal. But no, I think this is as big of a playoff implication for Clemson whenever you look from their side of the coin for this. So Clemson, this is probably Clemson's toughest game of the year. So if you drop this game and then potentially drop another one along the way and you're sitting there at 10-2, you kind of give the committee a reason to leave you out in a way. Or you might, I think at 10-2, you're probably going to be in. But if you go 10-2, losing this game and then lose another one in the ACC against a weak ACC, you know damn well that the talk's going to be, if there's any kind of fringe SEC team there, they're going to be pounding the table that the SEC team gets in over Clemson because Clemson lost to LSU. They played in a weak ACC, yada, yada, yada. So I think this is huge for Clemson's playoff implications. Not maybe as much as like getting in, but maybe avoiding like a 12 seed or 11 seed and having to go play potentially the 1 seed in the second round. So I think if you win this game, you probably set yourself up to probably find yourself in the top 6 seeds, I think, which is where you would rather be versus being in the back 6 seeds. So I think from that standpoint, Clemson needs to win it just to kind of silence the haters or not allow people to have a reason to kind of shit on them or to punish them later in the year.
This is also like kind of like a redemption year for Dabo Swinney as well. Like last year, Clemson played Georgia and just got absolutely smacked. I think it was like 31-3. I could be wrong on that, but I know Georgia was like just winning by I think 3 touchdowns. So I mean, this could be a year for like Clemson to like Dabo and Clemson to say something that like they belong in the CFP again, and also they're going to be the national championship run team.
Yeah, I think this is an opportunity for Dabo Swinney to say, look, college football is changing. I haven't really bought into the portal and kind of the way that the sport is changing. He's been vocal ever since how the landscape of college football has changed. He's been pretty vocal about how he doesn't agree with it, how he doesn't entertain the transfer portal, how whenever his recruits commit to Clemson, they are by no means allowed to go out and still talk to other schools, like other colleges allow their recruits to do, still talk to other schools even when they are committed. But I think this is a prove-it year for Dabo, just like, hey, I am one of the best coaches in college football. I found a way to win 2 national championships up to this point. I'm still going to show you guys that I know how to win in this modern era of college football with the transfer portal, my way of doing it. So I think if Dabo can win it this year, I think that he is definitely cemented up there and one of the best college football coaches of all time. I mean, you have a guy that wins 3 national championships. I mean, he has to be – I'm not saying he's like top 2, not top 5 or anything like that. But I think when you look back in history books, Dabo Swinney definitely needs talked about at this point. From a final score perspective here, I think I would take Clemson 31, LSU 23. Any last remarks on LSU Clemson, Metal?
Nope. Got nothing.
All right. And then the nightcap on Sunday night, the day before Labor Day. Be sure to get your boozing in. And while we're here, let's thank our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Draft Top. Let me get my ad read pulled up here. My computer's loading. I apologize, folks. This episode is brought to you by Draft Top, the ultimate tool for beer lovers. If you're tired of drinking out of cans and want to actually taste your drink the way it was meant to be enjoyed, Draft Top is your answer. It's a bar tool that removes the top of your can, turning it into a smooth, open cup. That means better aroma, better flavor, and no more drinking through that tiny opening. Perfect for tailgates, watch parties, or just cracking one open while you watch the Reds make a playoff push. Or stress you out. It kind of goes day to day at this point. Go to drafttop.com and use promo code DIVIDED or METAL for 10% off your order. That's drafttop.com. Cut the top. Enjoy the drop. I'm telling you guys, this thing is absolutely awesome. Whenever I drink normal beer cans, I literally just open up the can and I kind of do a little thing where I like slit the opening a little bit so that the flow is a little bit better, just because I can't stand it's just not like a smooth flow of a beer whenever you just open up the can and just drink it like how it normally is. So like this thing literally just takes off the rim of the can and you're essentially just drinking it like a draft, which hence the name, Draft Top. Take the top off and you basically got a draft. So pretty cool tool. I think there's something like, I don't know, 20, 15, 20, 25 bucks, something in that neighborhood. So use our promo code DIVIDED or METAL, get 10% off. Pretty cool tool. You'll go to a party with them and have a lot of people intrigued and want to use them. So be that guy at the party. But let's get back to it.
Change.
It's a lifestyle change. It'll make you feel something. Yeah. So the nightcap on Sunday night, and as I was saying, open up a beer. You don't have to work on Monday. Monday is Labor Day. Enjoy it. Make it your day. But aside from that, you got number 6 Notre Dame traveling to number 10 Miami. Headlines in this game is, how far along is Carson Beck? We saw him struggle a little bit last year at Georgia. He had a good year 2 years ago. What's he going to look like in this offense? We saw Cam Ward have a lot of success last year. Carson Beck struggled last year. You got to be completely honest. Call it for what it is. He obviously has some talent. We've seen him play some good football at stretches in his career. Last year, I think it was a lack of inconsistency to a point. So we'll see where he's at and how he's fitting into this offense. CJ Carr making his first career start for Notre Dame. I talked a little bit about what I think he opens up for Notre Dame's offense while Metal was gone. I think there's a world where Notre Dame's offense could be improved with CJ Carr under center rather than Riley Leonard. So we'll see how he's kind of in the same situation as Julian Sand. Same age guys making their first career start. The only difference is CJ Carr is going on the road to do it. Julian Sand's got a home game. One's facing the number 10 team, the other's facing the number 1 team. And then lastly, how does Notre Dame get Jeremiah Love involved? I got a little bit into this as well. Notre Dame favored by -2.5. Over-under set at 49.5. Notre Dame money line is set at -130. Miami is +118. What we got, Meta? What you thinking?
So I think what's going to be helping out Carson Beck this year is having probably one of the best wide receivers out there. Having Xavier Restrepo. I think he's going to be a key asset for kind of just getting big plays out there for Carson Beck. And then also like Miami's offensive line, which right now they have like a couple of transfers, especially like a TCU transfer with James Brockermeyer. And then right guard, Anders Cooper, and then Matthew McFoy. So Miami could possibly have like one of the best offensive lines in the country. I don't think Miami is going to be able to hold down Jeremiah Love. And I think CJ Carr is also going to go out there and sling the ball. Definitely a lot better than what Riley Leonard did last year. To which I think we're going to see a difference in Marcus Freeman's offense with Notre Dame than last year, just because Riley Leonard, I mean, he wasn't a bad passer, but he just wasn't consistent. And when you look at Riley Leonard, he's kind of like the Tim Tebow, to where like, he's going to bulldoze through the line of scrimmage. And he's going to get you the rushing yards that, you're going to get, and he's going to get you that first down if you need to do like a QB draw or like a QB option read or anything like that, right? You're going to see some differences to where I feel like CJ Carr is definitely going to be a more competent passer, and to where like the ball is going to get more down the seams than last year. So I think this game, it's going to be 21 Notre Dame, and then we're going to have 14 Miami.
21-14. But yeah, I think that Carson Beck is a massive question mark, like we said, for Miami. While you were gone, I basically said the same thing about CJ Carr. I think that he adds a different dimension that Riley Leonard didn't have. Riley Leonard is a lot like Will Howard. I think he provides a lot from the leadership standpoint. He helped out a lot, or brought a lot to the run game for Notre Dame last year, but I think it allowed defenses to kind of fill the box because there wasn't necessarily a threat of a throw game. He can throw the ball, but not to the capability where defenses really feared it, really respected it in a sense. So I think CJ Carr will bring an element where you have a little bit more arm talent there. You got to get him settled in, obviously. Like, he's going on the road facing a top 10 team at night in prime time. Like, that is a tough situation for any first year quarterback making his first start. So I think you got to get him comfortable. But I think if you can get him comfortable, that's just going to add a different dimension to Notre Dame's offense. And then again, whenever you were gone, Metal, I talked a little bit about, I think having Jeremiah Love, the ability to get him the ball out of the backfield through the air and then also be able to turn around and hand the ball off to him. I think CJ Carr is a huge X factor to this offense, not only for what the whole offense looks like, but I think for Jeremiah Love as well. I think having a guy that can throw the ball not only will only help the run game where guys aren't able or teams aren't able just to fill the box against you, but even whenever you do pass, you got a guy that can get creative in the passing game and get the ball to Jeremiah Love. I think whenever you were gone, I said that I think Jeremiah Love is a top 3 player in college football. I think he's right up there with Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs. I don't think people talk about him enough. Obviously, he gets some attention and whatnot, but I think that he is a guy that is as talented and as versatile as any player at any position in all of college football. I'm extremely high on Jeremiah Love. I think he's an absolute fucking stud. In terms of from a betting standpoint, I think I would definitely take Notre Dame minus 2.5. I think Notre Dame's an all-around better team. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to get from Carson Beck, from that Miami offense. I think Notre Dame's defense is going to maybe not shut him down, but I think they're going to cause some issues for Carson Beck in that offense and just make it a tough night for him. In terms of a score, I'll go Notre Dame 27. Let's go Notre Dame 27, Miami 20.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. That's it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I know at this point in the season we don't really know a whole lot about some of these teams other than like, hey, this team has Carson Beck. This guy has CJ Carr as a quarterback. So as you get in further into the season and see some of these teams play, you're going to kind of start to learn who people are, who are maybe some diamonds in the rough or some guys that are kind of flying under the radar at this point that we're going to learn about as the year goes on. Right now, it's basically the headlines you've heard about all offseason. It's just a matter of fact that they're actually going to suit up. They're actually going to go between the lines and they're going to play the fucking thing finally. So I'm sure there'll be more storylines, more topics and things like that to talk about as we go on. Ryan Daysburner coming in with the comment said he's taking Notre Dame 38, Miami 17. I would not be surprised by that. I think Notre Dame's really fucking good. I think they deserve more respect around the college football world. I don't really understand all the hate that they're receiving at this point in time. I think that by the end of the year, you're going to see them be a top 5 team in college football. I think at the conclusion of the season, you'll definitely see them up there with the likes of some of the top teams in all of college football, and I think that you're going to see them right back in the mix to make a run in the playoffs. So I am very, very, very high on Notre Dame this year. I think they're going to be a really good team. All right, on a final note, Metal, let's talk about one thing that we want to see from both Ohio State and Michigan this weekend. And I'm not saying don't pick the obvious. Don't say I want to see how Bryce Underwood looks. Like, obviously, I want you to kind of pick a topic that maybe not everybody is thinking about, or maybe hasn't really been talked about up until this point. Do you have anything for Michigan?
I want to see Donovan McCulley be the playmaker receiver that we haven't seen in a very long time. Kind of like a Nico Collins, Braylon Edwards, Roy Roundtree, Jeremy Gallen type receiver out there just making big plays and helping out Bryce Underwood.
And I think on a second note to that, I think that helps this year's team. But if you can have a wide receiver that goes into Michigan's system and plays really well, in particular with Bryce Underwood, who's going to be here for a couple more years, I think that only helps Michigan's recruiting in terms of getting wide receiver talent to Ann Arbor in the future. I think if they can just put the product on the field and show these high school kids that, hey, we had a guy that came here and did it, I think they're going to see some more talent start to flow into Michigan.
Yeah, I know like for the 26 class, like they got like Zion Robinson and a couple other 4-stars that they picked up for the 26 class, and then obviously like losing Calvin Russell, but nobody has signed yet, so it's just basically just verbal commits at this point. So maybe we'll see some more flips or more commitments during the season, and hopefully these high school wide receivers see like how possibly talented Bryce Underwood is, especially as a leader, a quarterback, and a passer. That we get some big guys out there, some Chris Henry Juniors or some Jeremiah Smiths.
Hey, let us keep those.
So what about you? What is it that you're looking for in week 1 for Ohio State?
So before I say mine, Ryan Day's burner. Ryan Day's been active in here tonight. He left another comment about what he wants to see. He said he wants to see Julian Sand show confidence in the pocket and tuck it when it collapses. He said he'd like to see a nasty pass rush as well. If those two things happen, the rest will follow. I agree. I think I want to see Julian Sand be comfortable in the pocket. I want to see him keep the good footwork that we have seen from him. I don't want to see him get happy feet and get flustered, start throwing balls off balance, forcing things. I would like to see him remain calm, remain comfortable, stay with his footwork, stay on time, deliver the ball, and just really do the things that he needs to do to be successful. So I'm right there with you. I think Ohio State's pass rush does have the advantage against Texas's offensive line. I know that people say, well, they lost JTT, they lost Jack Sawyer. And it's like, yeah, but they have Kenyatta Jackson. They have Caden Curry. Like, these guys played hundreds of 200, 300, 400 snaps last year. Like, it's not like these guys are stepping up playing their first college ball for the first time. We've seen these guys in Buckeye uniforms for 2 or 3 years at this point. We've seen them make plays. It was just an unfortunate event that they were behind 2 guys that were really good ahead of them. But now it's their time. That's kind of how Ohio State is. They reload. Once guys leave, the next talented guys step up. And I don't think that I'm not worried about Caden Curry or Kenyatta Jackson in terms of getting pressure. So I agree with you there. For me, the one thing that I am looking for, I want to see Ohio State's offensive line live up to the hype that we've heard of all offseason. They have had comments made that this is maybe the deepest offensive line room that Ohio State's had in years. They've got supposedly 6, 7, potentially 8 proven guys, which I agree with. We've seen those 6, 7, 8 guys play last year. We've seen them play meaningful football in an Ohio State uniform before. Obviously, they got a couple transfers at tackle that they brought in that are also going to provide to the team and really help them out. But I've heard the talk all offseason. I've heard it. I want to see it. You're going up against a really good defensive line. I know that it's not going to be easy. I know that they're probably going to make some sacks. But I want to see them be dominant. I want to see them protect and really give Julian Sand some time to deliver the ball And then I want to see them in the run game. I want to see them get upfield. I want to see guys get to the second level, get to some linebackers, see some explosive runs because that's ultimately where it comes from. So obviously you want to see Julian Sand. That's the headline that everybody's talking about. But I think it's as important as anything for the offensive line to have a good game. And I think that goes a really long way in building Julian Sand's confidence, whether that's in the run game or the pass game. Metal, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was just reading the. I don't know if you saw this, but Dave Portnoy got banned from the shoe.
What?
So he won't be there. Yeah, they just Ohio State has banned Dave Portnoy from the Horseshoe for his inaugural appearance on Fox's Big Noon Kickoff. So he just got
When
banned.
did this come out? Like now?
58 minutes ago.
Interesting. What did he do?
I just don't think they want someone as loud as
Him
Dave
being
Portnoy
annoying as
panel.
fuck in there?
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I don't see why he would be banned.
Yeah. I mean, whatever.
Funny as fuck though.
This is, I was going to say, is this some bullshit on 3 account? No, that's actually true. Well, I guess Dave Portnoy, I mean, he can do the show though, right? Like, he's not in the shoe. He's just outside of it.
Well, I think they, like, during, before, like, the kickoff and stuff, and then during halftime, they're in the shoe. So, like, he might be able to do the show outside of the shoe, but, like, when they go in the stadium and before, like, kickoff starts, you probably won't be able to be in, like, allowed in.
What if this is a way to get people to watch Big Noon Kickoff? To get more attention around the game.
That's a good point.
I mean, it might be like it's a fucking headline. It's gonna be like, I'm gonna fucking turn on Big Noon Kickoff to see if Dave Portnoy's talking or not.
I just don't.
I want to hear what Dave has to say. Like
I know, like I want to hear him go against like Urban Meyer. Like I'm sure we're gonna see that. Like
Urban Meyer would put him in a fucking body bag. Urban Meyer's a fucking coach. He's just gonna say dumb shit, and Urban's gonna be like, "Shut the fuck up! You literally don't know what you're talking about."
Urban would put him in a body bag, but it would be funny though. It's content.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what it is, and I'm wondering if this is like related in some way. Like this is just adding to the storylines of this game, and let's try to drive in as much money and as much viewership and as much revenue as we can. That's funny, though. I would like to know if something happened. I mean, something had to have happened, right? Like, you don't just 4 days, 5 days, whatever it is before the game, just be like, yeah, this guy's not coming in.
I'm looking forward to see what Dave Portnoy has to say about this because that's always funny.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I wonder if this is a way to get people to just watch. Like, he can't go into the shoe. Let's see if he's on the show before, and let's see what the hell he has to say about it. Because you know damn well he's going to come out and just start shitting on Ohio State for being soft and everything. Yeah. It's going to be funny. They probably just, like, doubled their viewership for Big Noon Kickoff. I mean, I'm going to be tuning. I mean, I was probably going to tune in either way, whether that was game day or... I usually watch game day over Big Noon Kickoff the way it is just because I like McAfee and I think it's a better sports show to watch. But now I'm definitely going to watch Fox. I mean, dude, this could be a way, like, Fox has – that's how the Big Ten makes their money is Fox. Like, this is a way to say fuck the SEC, fuck ESPN. Don't watch their show. Watch Big Noon Kickoff so we get the money.
Yeah, I feel like this is some sort of ploy. Like to bring viewership, like
I don't get it. Like, why would you do unless he did something, which I guess I kind of get in that sense. But if he didn't do something, why are you saying he can't go in? Yeah, I don't know. I think this is for clicks, viewership, and to get the attention off ESPN, so they watch their conference's network and not the SEC's.
Yeah, I could see that. That's a fair point.
I don't know. This is literally me I just learned it whenever you said it there. kind of just spitballing shit that's popping in my head.
Well.
Oh,
Was,
good episode.
Yeah.
We got 4 games that we are looking at. I think that there's a couple others out there. I think Tennessee and Syracuse play. That should be a decent game. And then I think Alabama and Florida State play. So we'll get to see Castellanos kind of doing some shit talking about how Alabama's not the same now that Nick Saban's out of town. We'll get to see it live and see if he kind of stands on his business. So other than that, Metal, you got anything else to say? Enjoy your time at the Michigan game. That'll be fucking awesome. It'd be cool to say that you saw Bryce Underwood's first ever start and got to see it live in person.
Yeah, hopefully it's a good game. I'm gonna definitely be pounding some beers.
Oh hell yeah! With your draft top, right?
Yeah, my dad has one now, so definitely gonna bring that with. And I'll bring mine too.
Make sure you get some content and some pictures and get it posted out there.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna get some pictures going.
That'll be good. That'll be good content. They'll like that. They'll like that for sure.
But if you're a Michigan fan and if you're at the golf course, swing on by. I'll be the person that's probably too fucking drunk. I'm just kidding. I don't drink that much, but yeah, I'm gonna have a good time. It's gonna be fun. So, go blue, and hopefully everyone has a great Saturday. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Texas Ohio State. So that should be fucking awesome.
Yes, sir. That works out good for you. That game's at night, so you can watch it.
Yep.
So, all right, go Bucks. Everybody have a good week. We'll be back later in the week, I would assume, for an Ohio version of the show. Other than that, everybody have a good week. Middle ground out.